Good morning, Laiba. Welcome to today's podcast, episode 1 of Cultural Exchange. I'm Rose Jarvis, and we are going to be going through a list of questions that I found from MIT. So, shout out to MIT for helping me get some of these questions. But we are going to be going through these and seeing the differences between my culture, which is more or less the Midwestern American culture, and your culture, Laiba.
Oh.
We're gonna start off easy. So, so what are some typical foods served in your culture? Easy peasy questions.
Okay. Well, I would say in my culture, there's usually 2 different mediums. There's foods beyond this too, but you can have like rice and some sort of like gravy or lentils with it, or you can have roti, which is like a type of flatbread, and eat it with like the same things, like some sort of gravy, some sort of like lentils. In my culture specifically, we also eat a lot of sheep, a lot of goat, a lot of chicken and beef. Pork is not allowed in my culture. So no! Can't eat any pig meat. Even the meat that we do eat has to be halal, meaning that it has to be like slaughtered in a certain way according to Zabiha halal like guidelines, which is supposed to be like a more painless way to slaughter an animal so that it doesn't have to like suffer as long. We can also eat seafood. Seafood does not have to be slaughtered in a certain way. Seafood is basically always halal.
The fish are halal. Yum, yum, yum.
The fish are halal. The shrimp are halal. The octopus are halal.
Yeah, and then so like with like all the different types of like meats and like rice and roti. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is there like any specific way or like meals that like hold certain statuses? I guess like in my culture, like this is more or less how like steak is seen as like a fancy meal and not like just like an everyday type of food.
In my culture, hosting is a really big thing. There's something called mehman nawazi, which basically means like treat your guests like royalty, like treat them like with this like utmost high level of respect because they're like coming to your place and they're celebrating this with you and they're like there for you. So at least in my culture, one of the dishes that is like basically guaranteed to be there always is this food called biryani. And biryani is like, it's this rice dish with like, it can be marinated chicken or sheep, goat. Usually my family uses mutton, but usually it's like the main dish that's served. It's seen as like, I guess like a symbol of like hosting and like communion and having people over, you know?
Yeah. Because I don't think we exactly have that in the Midwestern American culture. Because like, whenever we have people over, it's kind of like, you can go through the pantry if you like. You can go through the fridge.
Oh, really?
Yeah, quite literally. It's just like, if you are hungry, you can just like, go grab whatever.
Okay, interesting.
Really funny too, because like my parents would always have to like remind us, like especially when we were younger, to be like, tell your guests that they can like grab something to eat if they want.
Wait, what about like meals?
Oh, you just kind of like make any meal like you would normally. So like, say I would normally have like spaghetti or something, then we just add in the guest. There's no like making them seem like royalty or anything. It's just they're another part of the family.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if we know that we're gonna have like a family or a couple families over for dinner, we make like a couple starter dishes, a couple appetizers, a couple entrees, a couple main dishes. Gotta make some dessert too. Like it's like a whole thing.
Like if you were to come over You just happen to eat whatever we would eat.
Spaghetti.
Yeah. And that's A-okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, like, on our day-to-day, we eat, like rice and gravy and, like, roti and gravy. But some things are seen as so, like, mundane and day-to-day that you don't serve it when guests come over.
Really?
Like, when guests come over, you're supposed to serve, like, the fancy foods. The foods that, like, take a long time to cook and, like, show that you put effort. But,
I mean, like, it really just, like, depends. Like, I guess if we're having, like, strangers over, more or less, like, work friends over, like my parents have work friends, they would prepare more, like, fancier foods, but even then, it's not, like, fancy.
Yeah, I got you.
Like,
interesting.
If I happened to be eating popcorn for dinner, like I sometimes do, then it would be up to you to fend for yourself and find something for dinner.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Making me fend for myself as the guest is kind of crazy.
No, because, like, you're kind of part of the family, and that's kind of part of what you do.
I'm the guest. Oh, there's also, like, traditionally, but this is like back in India, or if you go to, like, a very, like, traditional restaurant, they'll have this thing called I think this is how you spell it, a dastarkhan, which is like this, like, kind of lower, like in elevation, it's like lower than the rest of the floor, like it's like a little pit, and there's like a bunch of cushioning, and it's usually you would eat over there with your guests. Like there's like a cloth laid out on the ground, and you guys just all just like sit around it on the floor, eating with your hands. So cool.
Yeah, we kind of just eat wherever. Well, I mean, like, normally we have, like, a, what is it called? Just, like, a dining table. Like, you eat there. But my family also, like, is really lax. And so, like, we're just, like, kind of eat in the kitchen. Just, like,
in the kitchen?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, like, we do have an island, and it has a singular seat because the others broke.
Wow!
But then, like, we kind of just, like, stand around, like, there and just kind of eat.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So, question-ish number 2. Is there, like, any type of, like, dress code for, like, formality or, like, casual based on the genders?
Yeah. Definitely, I would say so. Especially in my culture, there's this idea that you have to be modest. So, in terms of, like, covering your legs, covering your arms, you know, it's there for both men and women, but it's a little bit different. For women, modesty entails, like, you know, like covering yourself and, like, just basically covering yourself, you know. And then in terms of, like, clothing and dressing, and for men it's also covering themselves, but it's a little bit more relaxed on their ability to show, like, their arms and stuff, but they still have to cover their legs. They're supposed to, like, lower their gaze for their modesty. Like, they're not supposed to be, like, I don't know, gawking at every woman.
I mean, like, I guess, like, we kind of just have, like, a don't stare at people.
Yeah, that makes sense, honestly. I kind of like that more. I feel like because of the like distinction between men and women in my culture, it becomes a little bit, like, awkward when you do eventually have to interact with people of the other gender, because living here in America, like, that's just something that's going to happen, you know. Living in most places, you know, like when you're working a job, when you're in school, you're gonna have to interact with people from all sorts of backgrounds, of all sorts of, you know, like, races, genders, etc. So I feel like getting good practice with interacting with everybody and, like, normalizing it and destigmatizing it is important.
Yeah.
Otherwise, in terms of clothing, there's a lot of like traditional clothing. So there's shalwar kameez, which is like shawarma. Shalwar kameez for women, kurta, pajama, but it's like this long shirt, loose pants. They come in all sorts of colors, all sorts of embroidered designs. Yeah, traditional clothing, there's a lot of embroidery usually. There's a lot of emphasis on like those like hand woven, like intricate designs.
Yeah.
A lot of times you'll have like really bold colors too.
And would that be like worn on like the daily, or is that like?
Yes, yeah. It's worn daily in your house. When you go out, there's like you wear the same thing, but like a more formal version of it if you have one. In your house, you can kind of like wear whatever, but like when you go out, you're supposed to wear like the pieces that you don't wear that often, I guess.
Yeah.
And then with the shalwar kameez, there's a dupatta for women, which is just like a long cloth. You drape it over your shoulders. You can wrap it around your head. It just like comes with it.
Actually, I do want to ask about gender and sex, like as in like the sexual binaries.
That's a big word. That's a big word.
No.
Okay.
So like in your culture, like what is like, I guess like in American culture, not necessarily, there is like a scene of like man, woman binary, but then there's also like the LGBTQ where it's like non-binary, intersex, all those. But like what would you like in your culture, what is more seen as like accepted and like what is looked down upon?
Yeah, I think for us it's definitely the gender binary, and even within that, like the stereotypes for each gender are like very prominent. Like in the US we do have the gender binary, right? But I feel like there's kind of, at least recently, there's been a little bit of a breakthrough. Like there's been like, even if you're a woman, you can go down any path you want. You can be a career woman, you can be a housewife, you can do whatever. If you're a dad, it's like okay to be a stay-at-home dad. Well, that one's like, there's still like stigma around that. But like there's a little bit more freedom in terms of like what kind of careers you can do. In my culture, there's a gender binary, and with that, the like social roles of each gender are very like strict in a way. Like the man is kind of seen as like somebody that you have to be able to provide for a family. So you only really have certain career paths that you can take: doctor, lawyer, engineer, certain things that are kind of, guaranteed to like make money and like put you in a position of stability and like being able to support a family. Whereas with a woman, it's kind of like you should work, you should go to college and stuff, because like when you get married, that's also like something that is seen as like will make you a worthy bride. But like but it's a little bit more like optional. It's more important that you learn to cook, you learn to clean, you become responsible, you're like able to take care of a family, you know?
Yeah.
Like you're taught all of these things in your childhood. You start cooking at the age of like 8, 9, 10, you know? You're taught to like just basically take care of the household and like help your mom do stuff. Whereas with a man, they're not usually taught like how to cook or how to clean. It's just kind of expected that they'll take care of everything financially. So they're taught to be more like driven and more ambitious. The concept of queerness, I'm sure, has been there. I'm sure queer people have been in India, right? But
the concept of queerness.
It's looked down upon, and I'm not entirely sure why. At least in my culture, there's like Abrahamic religious influence, right? So because of Islam, it's seen as like something that's taboo. So like even if you do have certain like desires, you're not supposed to act on it because it's seen as like a sin, basically. It's not like talked about. It's seen as like something that you just like shouldn't even mention.
So it's like shunned upon.
Yeah, very shunned, very, very taboo. But in India, I'm not, like the rest of India, I'm not sure why, because they have Hinduism, which is not an Abrahamic religion. So I'm not, maybe it's in their scripture or something, but like I'm not sure why queerness is so looked down upon over there. In fact, I've heard queerness being referred to as like an American/Western concept, whereas I'm sure there's like been queer people in India, you know.
Mm-hmm. Like at least for
Isn't
us.
it like a big thing in some European countries too?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Growing up, there's definitely a split between the gender binaries, between boy and girl. Like
Yeah.
it was stereotypically there's always like an idea that like if you have like a boy, you're gonna give them like monster trucks or action figures to play with.
Yeah.
But then for girls, it's always thought of like they're gonna have like dolls to play with, they're gonna be doing their makeup, they're gonna be doing their hair. And then those kind of are perpetuated throughout school, where like there is a big separation between boy and girl. Not necessarily on purpose, but it kind of exists.
Yeah. That's very interesting. That's very, very similar to my culture as well. Like almost verbatim what you said.
But then like there is a lot of mixture between them because like in like schools it's like just kind of sit by whoever, and then whoever you make friends with is who you play with.
Yeah.
The separation is there, but then as you grow up, that kind of like goes away. Not totally, because there's still like, especially like the high school level, there's still like seen like the binaries. They're still just like there.
Yeah.
But then once out of high school and like I went to like Purdue, like those like they aren't as prevalent.
Interesting.
And especially intersex relationships, because like growing up there was definitely a split. Like if you were male, you only had male friends. If you were female, you only had female friends. And if like you did happen to have in between, they're basically like, ew, you are gay, you are a queer, you are a homo.
Ew, you're gay.
Ew, yucky.
Ew. Yeah, definitely a very similar concept in my culture. And I think this is like over here too, but like if you are like a girl and you have a friend that's like cisgender guy, it's seen as like, oh, you want him, you're trying to date him.
Yeah,
if you're a
definitely.
guy and you have a friend that's a girl, it's like, oh, there's some romance there. But people don't assume anything if you have same gender friends.
Yeah. It's definitely the same growing up here.
In fact, in India, so the culture here is like when you're passing by a stranger, you might like you make eye contact, you might smile, you might even say like good morning, you know, as you're passing them, just out of like politeness and respect.
Yeah.
In India, if you stare at people, it's rude. Like it's not even that like traditionally you don't stare at people, it's that if you stare at people, it's a bad thing and you're like attracting the wrong kind of attention, especially if you stare or if you like make eye contact or smile at somebody of the opposite gender. It's seen as like you're trying to insinuate something, which should not be the case.
That is not something here. Like yeah, there's like if one sex happened to look at the other, it wasn't like, oh my god, they're gonna make out. It's just like they kind of looked at each other. It's like, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, queerness.
I like that. I like that a lot more. Like just being able to like be kind to everybody.
Yeah. But then queerness, gays, the LGBTQ. Ew.
Oh, ew.
That's satire for anyone wondering.
The podcast watcher.
I'm trans and pan myself, so like it's satire. But
yeah, what were you saying?
Yeah. Growing up, there is like no teaching of like anything, like not necessarily no teaching, but there's not a lot of teachings of like LGBTQ and that stuff. And if it was talked about, it was because like your parents were just like, hey, let me tell you about this because you've heard a bit of this like probably from like your friends and stuff, and like you should know.
Yeah, interesting. No, yeah, it's very taboo within the house to talk about it at all. I guess your parents just kind of assume you like learn
Really?
out elsewhere, yeah, from the outdoors somewhere, which is, now that I'm thinking about it, like what you said about, you know, your parents approaching you and being like, I'm sure you've like heard stuff, I feel like that's a lot safer because you don't know what your child is learning outside of your house.
Yeah.
You don't know if it's healthy. You don't know if it's...
So this topic right now I'm switching over to is about sex, just a little bit.
Okay.
So your parents wouldn't give you like the talk and like sit you down and like explain like the birds and bees?
Never.
Dang.
Never.
Yeah, because like
not even possible.
Really?
No way.
Because like
it's seen as like inappropriate, I guess. Yeah.
Because like it's more seen like you're going to have the talk one day or another.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. No, it's like you will never be spoken to about that by your parents. It's like it's taboo, incredibly taboo. Which, you know, like now that I'm thinking about it does seem like a little bit of a dangerous thing because like they're not even gonna approach you and tell you about like safe sex or like consent or like when like what is rape, what is assault, what is not considered assault. You know?
Yeah.
What you're like allowed, like they're not going to tell you that like, you know, if you're not feeling it anymore, you can say no, you can revoke your consent at any time. They're not going to tell you about condoms. They're not going to tell you about any of that. I guess they kind of just expect you to learn from the outdoors. Which I was in a fortunate enough position that, you know, we did have sexual health education in my school and it was like competent. I know in a lot of places it's not competent.
No, yeah, but I had like no idea what was happening.
Uh-oh.
No, and it was because it was happening during COVID, so like
I see.
But yeah.
We got like a condom putting on demonstration.
Ooh. Did not get that.
Not on like a real human, but like on this wooden
dodo
carving. Yeah.
Yeah. The school dildo. Lovely.
And we got these, well, we didn't like get to keep them, but like it was passed around like little like scented condoms and like glow in the dark condoms. I don't know, bro. My teacher was goated. Too goated.
Damn.
And like STDs and stuff. Like I feel like that is something that should be taught by your parents, you know, but it's just not in our culture.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's not necessarily taught too much in mine either. Like, that was more like you learned about STDs in school. But then, like, also, like, your parents, it was also, like, thought of, like, your parents could be like, hey, don't just go having unprotected sex. It's bad.
Yeah. I searched up, like, do they teach sexual education in Hyderabadi schools? And there are a lot of articles about how sex education needs to be introduced in the education system. So I don't know if
it's not there?
I don't know. These articles are also a little bit old, but I don't know.
It's kind of important for like your health and well-being.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know, Wikipedia tell me. Okay, for adolescents. Yeah, parents are often reluctant to teach accurate and relevant information about sex to adolescents because of the stigma associated with the topic. More than taboo, mothers especially feel like talking about sex is embarrassing and dirty. This is true. The same attitude is held by teachers. Oh no.
Oh.
Well, it might be cooked, bro. Okay, apparently there have been some successful sex education interventions. So maybe it is there like a little bit, but probably way more recently than ours got introduced.
Yeah. No, I think sex as a topic itself was very much taboo growing up. Like if you were talking about sex, it's just like, no, it shouldn't be. That's bad. But then, especially as I've grown up, it seems to have like that taboo has gone away, especially going to college, because like it's much less thought down upon and more just like it exists and like it's important to know about.
Yeah. And you like at this point you kind of know that people are doing it.
Yeah.
So like in middle school and high school, it's kind of like, oh my God, what are they doing with their life? Do they not want a future?
Yeah.
But at this point, it's like, I don't know, people
It's
do
kinda,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna walk up to someone and assume that they're having sex, but like if someone were to tell me they're sexually active, it's like not surprising, you know? Like this conversation that we're having right now, even like the idea of like, you know, like sexual diseases and like safe sex and like consent and stuff. This is never a conversation I could have with my parents.
Ooh, lovely. Sex as a topic definitely is more lax. Definitely as I've gotten older. Like I could tell my siblings, hey, stop, have safe sex. And then they'd be like, okay.
Interesting. Yeah, it's interesting because like logically I can't like kind of pinpoint why something like that would be taboo, because you're right, it is a very like natural activity that like everybody does. So if it's such a general thing, why is it so stigmatized? It doesn't really make that much sense in our culture. Well, but like the thing is they don't say this to you though. Like it's just like known. But
yeah,
in Islam, like as per like the Quran, your sex is not like seen as something you should do outside of marriage. It's more like once you are married, this is something that you and your spouse can engage in because it's seen as something very like intimate, very vulnerable. So it's like prohibited outside of marriage. So yeah, I think my culture as a whole is conservative. Like that's just the culture is conservative. So it contributes to sex and gender being a bit of a like taboo thing.
So then like there aren't any other genders, like, and if you were to like say like be like, hey, I'm trans, or hey, I'm non-binary,
you'd probably be disowned. Like it's not, even if you were to say like, you know, I think I'm gay, you are probably being disowned. Because there's also in my culture there's this big thing about like your reputation in society. So a lot of the actions that your family takes, a lot of the actions that you take, it's contributing to this like social reputation of your family. And even if, you know, you're supposed to become like a doctor, lawyer, engineer because it's like it'll help you like provide for your future family, and it's like your whatever, like it'll make you independent and like, you know, it's like good for you. But it's also because if you don't, there's a social stigma around it, and then your whole family will be judged for raising a son that's not competent in like society standards. So in a similar way, if you come out as like maybe not part of the gender binary, or you're like queer, it's seen as like you have brought down such defamation onto the family that you don't deserve to be part of the family anymore.
That is kind of prevalent in some families. I know that you can be like disowned and stuff for just being like questioning like your sexuality or questioning your gender, but then also definitely more in like the liberal areas, it's more just like accepted.
Yeah.
Where
especially probably more recently, right? Like,
definitely
I'm sure
more recently, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like where I grew up, in my school there was a few queer kids, but they were more seen as like outcasts than like yeah. But then at the same time, once you entered like the upper levels of high school, people just became more like they're queer and that's it, and like it was less like looked down upon because like people matured as adults. But especially when you're younger, it was more
that
like
makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. It's interesting that happened in your high school too, because that happened in my high school where like, you know, people are gay, it's like seen as like, what? Oh my god, they're playing for the other team, that's crazy. And then like it's so stupid, bro. And then, you know, we would become like upper level high schoolers, like upperclassmen, and it would be like whatever. But I thought that was because of like in 2020 there was like BLM, and then there was also like this huge push for like queer rights and queer representation and awareness. So I thought because like we lived in California and a lot of the protests and stuff like happened there, that was why people became more tolerant of it. But it also makes sense that it's like a maturity thing.
It is definitely also in part to all like the COVID like push for equality stuff. But I do think in part there was a maturity factor to it.
For sure. That makes sense.
Oh, something else that I had thought about asking about was like what does your culture think about like recreational like drug and or alcohol use? Yeah.
My culture specifically, both of those things are like fully prohibited. Like in Islam, you're not allowed to drink, you're not allowed to do drugs. So again, if you were doing something like that, it's seen as like this social disgrace that you've brought upon your family, and like you would be punished very severely.
Alcohol is a very big thing here.
Yeah,
it's just kind of accepted that people drink alcohol. Like my dad like collects alcohol. Like he has a little collection of like bourbon and whiskey and like that type of stuff.
Interesting. It's a collection.
Yeah.
Wait, that's interesting. I think I remember going to like his houses sometimes, and they'd have like these little racks with a bunch of bottles.
Yeah.
So it's fully off limits for us to the point where like growing up, if a place even served alcohol, we weren't allowed to go there. My parents were like, if somebody from our community, aka like if another Muslim that we know sees you, and they start like talking to people and they're like, oh my god, Laiba was at this place that sells alcohol, then it's gonna be a disgrace on our whole family. And I was like, what? Like I can't even drink it. Like that's just not even like allowed.
Yeah. No, yeah, like it was very much not like that when I was growing up. Like sometimes we would go out to eat and then like my parents would get alcoholic drinks.
Insane.
And then like they just drink it there with us.
Wow. Right in front of you.
Yes.
Whoa. You guys were tempted?
Well, I mean like we asked for sips and they'd give us like a sip.
Oh my god, you guys got drunk.
Literally off of one sip.
Yes.
I'm gonna skip around.
Sure.
So we can do the individual and the group. So like, in your culture, is there like a push to being an individual and having like your own self-worth? Or is it like your culture wants you to provide for like the people around you? Or is there like a mix between them?
It is definitely a collectivist culture. So your role is very deeply tied to what you are providing for your family, for society. When you take actions, when you're determining your career path, when you're determining like who to marry, things like that, it's seen as like you are making these decisions with your family in mind. Ultimately, you're making these decisions for your family in a way, like for the prosperity of the group. It's not really seen as like an individual thing. It's like a group thing.
For example, you don't leave your household. Like in my culture, you stay with your parents until you get married. So the only reason you would leave is like to join a new family, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's seen as like even while you have your job and like while you're like becoming financially independent, you're still staying with your parents and like helping to support them, if anything. It's seen as like if you don't have like a family to support, what are you working for in a way?
No, here's definitely like once you can be independent, there's a push towards independence.
I like that. I think it's an important skill.
Yeah, not necessarily like you're being kicked out of the house, but like there's a gradual like push towards being independent where like you can live at home with your parents for a while, but it is looked down upon when you're like maybe in like your 20s and 30s still living with your parents. But like once you can get a job and support yourself, it is seen as like you go off and be independent. Even if like you don't really have like anyone to be independent with, it's like you can still be independent by yourself.
Yeah. That makes sense. I feel like it's important to be able to get on your feet a little bit and like start doing things for yourself.
Yeah.
Oh. But it's interesting because I think it ties into mental health a little bit, at least in my culture, because therapy is very looked down upon. Because it's like if you have like depression, you know, like something that is like overcomable, then it's seen as like just talk to your family. Like that's what they're there for, you know? Like why would you outsource it? Why would you go to somebody else about personal issues when you already have people to rely on? Like it's seen as like your community. And then because of that, there's also like this whole, if you are depressed, there's a huge stigma around mental health to begin with. But like if you are depressed or if you are dealing with something, the most common reaction I've noticed from both my parents and the parents of my friends is like, why? Like it doesn't make sense that you're depressed because nobody else in this family is depressed. Like it's seen as like, if something didn't collectively happen to all of us that would cause something like that, you shouldn't be dealing with personal issues.
In my culture, it's more like therapy isn't looked down upon. There is a stigma around it. Like it's bad in a way, but it is more accepted than like I guess you were saying. And the individual's feelings and stuff is definitely more accepted, and it's like you can have your own woes, and it's not like we have to have it too.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because like if you are dealing with something personally, it's like if it's caused by something that happened in the family, like say there's been like a death or like your family's not doing well financially, it's like it's seen as different. It's seen as like, okay, yeah, this kid's going through something because like, you know, his community is going through something. But if you're fine, you're well off, and you're dealing with something, it's seen as like, where's this coming from, you know? Like if it stems from like loneliness, it's like, why are you lonely when you have a family? You know, or like why do you feel like there's nobody you can talk to when you have a family? Whereas obviously it's a lot more complex than that, right? And like you can be surrounded by people but still feel lonely. Therapy is seen as like, oh, what a shame they had to go to therapy, they had to resort to therapy. Would you say that in your culture, it's like, do you think people think that everybody should go to therapy?
Definitely not. It's more seen like a step towards being like clinically insane. But it is definitely more accepted. For example, like there's like grievance counseling and stuff like that. Like that's definitely something that's accepted in like our culture, but it's still not like really a positive.
That makes sense. I see. So arranged marriages are very common, right? When you are getting married to someone, your parents will do like an entire background check of the other people's parents, what kind of community they come from, if they're involved in their like neighborhood, with their mosque, with their religion, what their ideals are, what people think about them. All done without actually like talking to that family. They'll contact like people close to the family, they'll contact other people in the community. Like they do this whole check of information, trying to like really get an idea of who these people are. Because marriage is seen as uniting two families rather than like two individuals, you know?
Yeah, no, it's definitely not like that, because in my culture, it's more you go out and find someone, not that like someone's already chosen for you. But then even if you need to like divorce or something, it's not looked down upon as much as it was in the past. It's more just like another option.
Yeah. I would say the concept that you talked about a little bit about, like, you know, making sure that like the person is the right match is kind of secondary in our culture. Like it's seen as like if you have a personality difference or like there's something you don't like about your partner, that is something that is changeable. Because divorce is like extremely looked down upon. Like it's simply not an option. Like, what will people in society say? You know?
It was so nice to have you on this podcast. Thank you once again.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!